My name is Courtney Hineman, and I'm doing a vlog. It's about disability topics and how disabilities affect both people with and without disabilities. I'm passionate about accessibility. I'm passionate about making sure that people feel comfortable around people with disabilities, like knowing what language to use. I'm also passionate about making sure that people with disabilities know or learn self-advocacy skills. That way they'll know how to advocate for themselves and or to have help advocating for themselves. That way they can say what they need and what they want. By sharing what I've learned, I feel like it gives me, a platform to give back and share my information with other self-advocates. So, person-first language is putting the person before the disability or the diagnosis. So, and how you would use that would be, you might say your name, and then you might say you have a disability, or you're somebody with a disability, but you're not putting it first. So that's what it means when you say person first. Identity first language is putting the identity first, and they could say, "Hi, my name is," and say their name, and they would say, I'm autistic. Or if they were putting it before their title, like in the advocacy, they could say, I'm an autistic advocate, or I'm an autistic self-advocate, because especially a lot within the autism community, it seems to be more focused on identity first language because a lot of people within that community view it as a part of themselves and not something that needs to be separated from themselves. I'd say in general, use person first language, because especially if you're in a group, I feel like that's more the rule is that if you don't know, it's better to assume person first. But if you're just talking to somebody individually, I feel like it'd be better to ask them, just interact with them like you would any other friend. And then for me personally, I'd rather somebody get to know me first and then ask me, hey, like, what language do you want me to use? Like, do you want me to use person first, identity first language? Because I feel like I don't know, I need some, level of trust in order to get to that point of really being open about my disability, because sometimes it's hard for me to admit that I do struggle with things, and I'm not able to do, everything on my own like I would like to independently. I didn't even really know what person first and identity first language is until I started learning more about the history of disability and more about the disability rights movement. And I started learning about language, but now that I know about it, I feel like I know more how I personally want to identify. So I kind of switch between person first, identity first, because my disability is important to me, and it's something that I don't want others to feel ashamed by or bad about. So that's why sometimes I use identity first language, because I kind of want to get rid of that stigma of disability being a bad thing, but also sometimes I like using person first language because even though I don't want it to be seen as a bad thing, I also know that it's not the only thing that's important to me, if that makes sense. That identity of being disabled paints paints a lot of my life experiences and gives me different view on things that if I didn't have a disability I wouldn't have, and also allows me to be able to share my own life experiences and my own perspectives, which I feel like if I didn't have a disability, those perspectives will be completely different. I'd rather someone assume that I understand what they're saying and know what I'm talking about, and not, like, for lack of a better word, baby talk me and be like, oh, she's so sweet, she's so little, like, you know what I mean? And just, I don't know, talk to me like you would any other typical adult, and normally if I don't understand something, I will try to speak up for myself and ask. So I've been kind of learning that sometimes I do need other people to speak up for me, because sometimes I don't know when to speak up for myself or how to speak up for myself, and those things I'm still learning. So in those areas, like my family, they know me very well, so they know, like, when they need to step in and when they need to let me do my own thing. So amplify, don't overshadow means that kind of what I was talking about earlier, where once you do, like, build up a relationship with that person and they are in your trusted circle, they can help you amplify your voice and speak up for yourself, but also they shouldn't be speaking for you. And also another thing I wanted to talk about was sometimes when I've been out shopping with staff, people will ask my staff something instead of ask me something. To me, I'd rather somebody ask me and then if I for some reason couldn't, answer, then have my staff answer. But I'd rather somebody come to me first and assume, oh, she can't talk, or she's not gonna, she's not gonna understand what I'm saying. So I just rather somebody talk to me first. Like, I'm a person, I'm right here, like, you can talk to me. Like, it's like the annoying thing is that I feel like people assume sometimes that, like, because I have a disability that I can't speak up for myself, or that I'm not gonna know, like, what I'm talking about. And that's really annoying to me, because, like, there are things that I do struggle with and I need help with others with, but I do, like, I understand a lot, for lack of a better word. I understand a lot. It's like they assume that because you have a disability, you're not going to be intelligent. I feel like that's not right to assume that. Another thing I wanted to mention about language that people use, like saying handicapped, it's not like you're making fun of somebody, but it is, like, not a super nice word to say anymore, because that word is just not viewed as very I don't know, inclusive. I don't know if that's the right word or not, but very inclusive. So instead of handicap parking, it's now called accessible parking. From the history behind it, it was from the word where people with disabilities used to, like, be on the streets begging for money. They'd have their cap in hand. That's what they call a handicap, which I had no idea. I was like, what? And also, this one has bothered me recently. It's something that people would say to someone who has autism or who's autistic. Like I said, I switch between the two because I just like switching. That way I don't make anybody, I don't know, for lack of a better word, offended. So I personally don't like the term high functioning or low functioning because if you say the word high functioning, it implies, oh, you have such good social skills and are so put together that I wouldn't have guessed that you had autism. Or if you say the word low functioning, to me that you're like putting that label on that person and being like, oh, they can't do anything. And like, to me that's not right. Like, you shouldn't be putting labels on people. You should let them do what they can do to the best of their ability. Or I'm so OCD about this, like, or saying, oh, that's just my OCD. Like, I don't know how I feel about that because, like, if you don't have that experience, then I don't know, it doesn't seem right to say that because it seems like you're making fun of people with OCD. Like maybe that's how you feel about that because you're trying to keep something neat or like you feel like you're obsessing over something, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have OCD. Or if someone says the phrase, everybody has a little autism or everybody's on the spectrum, no, that's not how it works. Yes, everyone on the autism spectrum is affected differently. That's why it's called autism spectrum disorder. And not everyone's on the spectrum, or else everything would be a lot more accessible and people would know about sensory issues and sensory needs that people with autism need, like not having the like fluorescent lights, needing calming colors for walls. Like in Miami University, they have a accessible classroom where the walls are blue because blue is considered a more calming color, and also just not understanding social cues or social body language, like, and not really knowing how to interact with people. Like, I don't know, like you don't know that unless you either have autism yourself or you know someone that has autism, then you know. I thought of one which is where people, it's kind of a similar thing to autism where they will say, I'm so ADD about this. And like, no, not really, because like, because when you have ADD, it makes you struggle with like remembering things and knowing how to plan things, and that's really difficult because people expect you as an adult to know like time management and to know how to plan things like in advance, and also sometimes you have to plan things last minute, and when you would struggle with planning things just in general, it makes it super hard. So no, you're not so ADD about this. Special needs. Now some of you might be surprised by that because some of you watching this might be special education teachers, but the reason why special needs bothers me is because you're saying that because I have a disability, my needs are special. There's nothing special about needing help to make decisions, because everybody in some point of their lives needs help making decisions. There's nothing special about wanting friendships, and nothing special about wanting to be independent and live on my own. There's nothing special about me wanting to work. What's special about me is me trying to overcome the assumptions that society has placed on me because of my disability, because they think I can't do things when I can, and that I do need more help sometimes, but that doesn't mean that I'm incapable. So that's what I wanted to say. For more information, you can check out the resources linked below.